For the family, ain't nothing I wouldn't do. And they know what I'm going, no matter who. Stairs vacant, I'm plotting my next move. Shot my niggas is getting this stacking blue. Tell them watch for the jackets and undercovers. All the snitches and bitches that say they like it. Not a trapper, I die, but it wasn't me. Streets of snatch, had you on somebody's teeth. Shot my nigga, they left him for dead. Hard to kill them, we come for revenge. Told them something won't happen again. For the caliber, one in the head. Let them curses come blessings instead. Ain't no waters that I couldn't tread. You ain't up if your brothers ain't fed. At the table, we breaking the bread, yeah. Crown royal, I don't chase it. She ain't loyal, I replace it. Try and play me like I'm basic. I see clearly like LASIK. If it's a challenge, I embrace it. Don't test me, then I ace it. Show my mandolin, watch me lace it. Lawless going crazy. I sit a law of vendettas. Prove y'all wrong, my pleasure. Enemies use all measures, yeah. If you knew better, do better. Follow my lead, trendsetter. We certified go-getters, yeah. Me and my niggas. We don't talk shit, talk business, yeah. Ride to the finish. Only one try, we giving, yeah. Win and winning. Going smoke to the sky, no ceilings, yeah. I'll be there in a minute. The pedal to the floor, we living, yeah. Drawbacks is a small cause for the dream, yeah. Fall back, never fall off, I've been scheming. All facts, we been long gone from the scene, yeah. Cooking up bean, yeah. Serving up fiends, yeah. Money machine, yeah. Building up steam, yeah. Talking, I seen that. Not on that screen, yeah. Nubian queen, yeah. All of my DM. What it's gonna be, yeah. I sit a law of vendettas. Prove y'all wrong, my pleasure. Enemies use all measures, yeah. If you knew better, do better. Follow my lead, trendsetter. We certified go-getters, yeah. Me and my niggas. We don't talk shit, talk business, yeah. Ride to the finish. Only one try, we giving, yeah. Win and winning. Don't smoke to the sky, no ceilings, yeah. I'll be there in a minute. The pedal to the floor, we living, yeah. Me and my niggas. We don't talk shit, talk business, yeah. Ride to the finish. Only one try, we giving, yeah. Win and winning. Don't smoke to the sky, no ceilings, yeah. I'll be there in a minute. The pedal to the floor, we living, yeah. Better late than never, I suppose. I've been sleeping on this gold. Now I'm woken, boy, I'm fucking on it. Pulling shit together with my bro. Yeah, he keep me on my toes. So we cooking cause we fucking hungry. She just want a nigga with some goals. But this world so fucking cold. When she find love, won't know how to hold it. I've been feeling anxious on the low. I just leave it to the most. Life's a gamble and we never folding. Better yet, I welcome every wager and he take us from a line. Watch me make your money mine. Someone told me time is money, but see really that's a lie.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to today's Friday episode of The Uninformed Fan. As always, I'm your host, Tyson, TRL Business Time, and with me as my friend and on probation, Jeffrey off the schneid. Jeffrey, welcome to the Friday show.
On probation. First, I mean, I guess we need to change my name to On the Schneid instead of Off the Schneid, right? Because technically, I guess I need to do something to correct that. Why am I on probation, Tyson? What did I do?
Well, I think it has to do with the Monday Super Bowl show, from what my my listeners and my people are telling me from inside sources. Apparently, there's a riff inside the Uninformed Fan community about whether or not the Super Bowl show should have happened. But we'll give you a chance to defend yourself right here.
All right, so just to defend myself real quick, I mean, first of all, you did fire me twice on Sunday during the Super Bowl, if we're going to even go there. So I wasn't even sure I still had the pleasure of co-hosting next to you as well.
I don't remember that.
Listen, Super Bowl was a great time. So I did start to transition into a new job here at a new company coming up this week. So I've had a very busy week, but also Monday, the company that I am still working for and have been working for a long time is gracious enough to do amazing things for their employees sometimes. And one of those things was they were able to send us to Disney with some awesome people and great friends. We were able to have a really good time. It was just something I didn't want to miss. You know, it only comes around every so often. You never know how many more of those chances you're going to get to be able to experience the theme parks like that. And so that was just something that I wanted to be a part of, and I appreciate everybody for your understanding, and being with me, and letting me go do that. I apologize for missing the Monday show. Going forward, there will be no shows missed, no days off. I can tell you that. I will preface it with the fact of I don't know what kind of shape either of us would have been in on Monday to regurgitate information and break everything down. But nevertheless, here we are.
Well, in your defense, there was quite a few high noons that were consumed that day. I thought I did pretty well, though. I don't really think I had shots, but then looking back as the week went on and the Sunday got a little clearer, I think there was a few in there. But my biggest fail, once again, was not eating. And there was just, that was just it. So, we apologize that the Monday after the Super Bowl show did not happen. I am just now starting to feel better. Today is Friday. When you're old, it's just, it's just not the same, kids. It's really not. It's really not the same, God bless the people that still get drunk and get up the next morning and go do what they got to do. We're just not it. I'm not it. And I hardly don't. Go ahead.
I do want to point out that I did get done with the game. We went to another little place, and we had a nightcap, and somehow me and our good friend Jeremy Swinson ran up a $100 tab on our nightcap, which is incredible at an establishment like that. And then
wait a minute. After I kicked you out, you went somewhere else?
Out of your car. Yeah. I went over to a different establishment right across the street, and somehow me and Jeremy ran a $100 tab there. And then after we run the tab, we go home responsibly, of course. And then the next morning, he wakes up to come pick me up to go to our event that we had, and I literally walk into the event, and the first thing this is after already getting rid of a little bit of the night before. First thing I do when I walk into this event is I'm handed a huge mimosa and a vodka and OJ, and I'm like, well, here we are, and let's go again. So that was basically how it started, and then now I've been in wall-to-wall training the entire week going forward lately. So take a little bit of a break. We're gonna hit.
Jeffrey has been a very, very busy man lately.
Get in the gym a little bit. I'm gonna try to eat a little bit better here going forward. Hopefully lose a little bit of weight, and we'll see what happens.
Speaking of eating, as you get older, there comes times when you need to have blood workup done.
Oh, okay.
I am on one of those days, right? It is so impossible in the state of Florida, apparently because just everyone is old and needs blood work all the time, to get in to any type of lab to do it. So the earliest time I could get today was 2:30. Well, I can't eat before I have this. So I'm literally sitting here as somebody that usually gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning, has a little breakfast around 7. I'm already on lunch by now. Cannot eat until after this thing. So I'm getting a little hangry already.
Will you reset with prune juice then at 2:30, or do you just go straight into your lunch of, your little Debbie snack and
no little Debbie's.
Sandwich.
How
does that work?
What are the little protein shakes? The Ensures. Yeah, I have
Ensures.
it. I have Ensures throughout the day.
Yeah.
Oh, dick.
Drink a Boost for breakfast and Ensure for dessert.
That's the good life, dude. It's the good life. Pretty soon, I'm going to be in a double wide in a trailer community down in South Florida. Closer to the water. I'm
somebody who's never had a sponge bath, mad props to you. You know what I mean? So. Good for you.
I have had a sponge bath.
I know you have.
All right, let's talk about this Super Bowl game. I was really excited to get onto the show today, again, because once again, the game played out exactly how I called it, with Andy Reid out coaching Sirianni and Patrick Mahomes just straight out playing Jalen Hurts. And yes, I did say that those were the two deciding factors, and those were the two deciding factors. Once again, the Chiefs win. Business time goes to 10-3 on the year. Off the schneid goes to a losing 6-7. It was a great game. I think we definitely got our money's worth finally in a Super Bowl in a playoff game. What a game it was. What a game it was. It was back and forth. I'm not gonna lie. The second half was a little shaky for me. Yeah.
Yeah, a little shaky?
Yeah, it was a little shaky for me on the second half, but what a game. What a great game. I don't think you could have asked for anything else in a Super Bowl to have a tie game with 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
No, absolutely. And, we talked about it a lot in the weeks leading up that, I thought it was going to be a fantastic game. We did think that, it would be back and forth, a little up and down. I'm going to disagree with your assessment about how Jalen Hurts was completely outplayed by Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I didn't say completely. I just said outplayed.
Okay. Without that turnover by Jalen Hurts, without that fumble, this game, I think, is completely different in my opinion.
But it happened. And therefore,
it did happen.
Did Patrick Mahomes fumble?
But let's just really quick look at the stats. I mean, Jalen Hurts rushes for 3 touchdowns, 14 carries, 70 yards. He throws the ball, 38 times, 27 completions, extremely efficient. 304 yards through the air, gets all of his playmakers involved. Goddard was involved with 60 yards, hit over on his prop. A.J. Brown hits 96 yards over on his prop and completions.
First of all, stop
Smith
looking at the
hits
stats to your
100
left
yards.
there. Because the
look at
stats,
whatever
no. And nobody's saying that he didn't play a good game. However, the 3 rushing touchdowns, give
It's
me a
first
break, bro. Give me a
you
break.
What do you mean give you
What
a
do you
break?
mean? These are rushing
That's part of
touchdowns
what
that
he's
were
supposed to be in his
QB
offense.
sneak. It was literally push the quarterback in the back. That offensive line got those touchdowns.
If only Tim Tebow could have thrown the ball or been as athletic as Jalen Hurts, he might have been something in this league, but he wasn't, and he isn't. So here's where we are. Okay.
You're really that butthurt that you need to bring in a man of God, huh? You're really that butthurt about your picks?
Oh, first of all, what an amazing man. Really quick caveat. Did you see what he was doing, what he does with his charity?
It's a night to shine. He does it every year.
It's unbelievable, dude.
And you're over here slandering the man. Unbelievable.
No, he's
Unbelievable.
a great human being. Just struggles throwing the little, pigskin. It's okay. It's not a big deal. Not all of us are blessed like that.
Beat the Steelers in the playoffs.
Yeah, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When it comes to the Chiefs, I thought the Chiefs got very fortunate. Field position wise, I feel like they won the game. Mahomes wasn't great, about 170 something yards. Kelsey, does score the touchdown. If you had any time touchdown, minus 150. Congratulations to you on laying the odds there. Listen, this entire game. And listen, the Chiefs would have scored anyway, but to me, that holding call was absolutely egregious. I don't think there's any way.
It was
that
a
you can
holding
make
call,
that
though.
call 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, in that spot right there on 3rd and 8, when there probably wasn't it wasn't going to affect the play that much, in my personal opinion.
So are you saying that by the rule of the definition that was not a hold?
I did not say that. I said
you said
cannot make that call in that position. Okay. Look at the replay from NFL Network. Look at it. There's hands to the face all over on Josh Sweat, who's trying to get pushed on the other side of the line. They didn't call that. It's not the time or the place to call that. Just like not the time or the place or to call somebody just having their left hand around somebody when they're 2 yards in the backfield running a cut route on you. What are you supposed to do? Listen. I thought it was a terrible call. I thought it definitely cost the Eagles the Super Bowl. The NFL gets what it was.
Hold on. Cost the Eagles the Super Bowl?
It absolutely did. The Eagles would have got the ball back and gone right down the field on them.
Really? So you're
There's
just
2
assuming
minutes left in the game.
it was a bit of a minute 45. It would have been like a minute 45.
So you're saying get the ball back.
So you're saying
getting the field goal range.
So but you just said to win the game. So you said touchdown. You said win the game. It cost the Eagles the Super Bowl. That played
Absolutely.
it. Well, you shouldn't have hold.
It cost them the Super Bowl.
Well, you shouldn't have hold. I mean, we all saw it live, and that I do remember that because we were all like, "Holy shit!" We were consoling some Eagles fans over there.
You were not consoling anybody. You were a few of you were out of pocket. If we're going to be honest with ourselves here,
I was just making sure they were okay. All right, I was just making sure that they were okay because that was a very emotional up and down.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is the player said that he held them. Now maybe this is just part of the NFL script, right? Maybe that's what he has to say.
It could be.
I mean, to me, it looked like the play wasn't even going that way. It doesn't really matter. That's what was called. We do know that obviously they allowed the Chiefs to run. I said, why are they even throwing the ball there? Because they had no timeouts, correct? I believe the Eagles were out of timeouts.
The Eagles were out of timeouts, yeah.
Right, so I think I was screaming there. Why
they had one? They got to have one timeout, I think.
Right, so even then I was just like, well, why are you even throwing the ball regardless? Run the ball, take your chances of getting the first down there, take as much time off the clock, and then make them use that last timeout to where they, like you said, they were going to have to go the entire field with no timeouts. Jalen Hurts in his first year, first Super Bowl. I think that would have put a lot more pressure on it, but obviously they got the call. Nobody wants to see the game in that way.
We got robbed of that moment. And that's what pisses me off.
Well, you shouldn't have held though.
We got robbed of that moment. We should have had the moment. It does. I don't give a flying. You know what? I'm trying to watch my words and be a better man these days, so I'm not gonna let it fly. At least not yet, until you piss me off a little bit more later in the show. But I think it was a terrible spot for that call. I think we were robbed of the ability to Jalen Hurts to come down and make that play. So,
well, if anybody, the Eagles, Jalen Hurts was robbed by his defender who held him. You could see the jersey being pulled.
Bradbury came out and said, "I held him," but he did. I feel like Bradbury did that so that Eagles fans would not just burn everything down.
We're finally free of Eagles fans. Let's not even talk about Eagles fans anymore, because that was probably one of the most gifted things about Philly losing, is the fact that we didn't have to listen to that. But on the same token, when I did watch the NFL Films one, and I mean, obviously he's pulling his jersey. I mean, whether it was going to go there, whether it was not. As an official, I don't know. We've talked about the inconsistencies with officiating, and especially in playoffs, where some games it's letting them play, and then other games it's this. I don't know if this was... Honestly, I didn't watch it so intensely throughout this whole game, because obviously I was enjoying myself and my friends around me.
We were having a good time, honestly. It was good.
So I don't know if that was consistent throughout the game, whether that same kind of tugs were being allowed throughout the game. So I can't really comment on that. But the bottom line is unfortunately the flag was thrown. It secured the Chiefs' victory, and we just thank the Lord above that the Philly fans, we just don't have to deal with that. I think that's the underlying tone. We might have got robbed of a great ending, but God, we got saved by Philly fans, dude.
I apologize to all 6 of you that I actually like and I actually respect and love. And the rest of you, I don't
apologize to anybody.
I'm glad that you did. But congratulations to the Chiefs. Congratulations to Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce on solidifying their lore in NFL history as well, too.
I mean, at this point, we have to say, right? I mean, this is a dynasty. I mean, it's brewing. I mean, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that dude is. I mean, you could probably already write his ticket to the Hall of Fame. I mean, 5 years, 5 straight AFC championships, 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. I believe he won 2 regular season MVPs as well. I mean, what a generational talent that the Bears just said wasn't good enough. I mean, that's always going to be in Chicago's history. But wow, I mean, he loses Tyreek Hill, and there was one player I happened to mention on our show before the Super Bowl that I said was going to have an impact, and that was the speedster out of the University of Florida, Kadarius Toney, who had a monster game. Big, impactful plays. The return back put them in great position. Then he had the run off the outside as well to score. Just impactful player. Impactful player. You can look around all you want.
Because you do know that run got called back, right?
It doesn't matter. It still happened.
And you do know that he had 1 catch for 5 yards the entire game, right?
I'm more talking about the kick return that put them in an amazing position. That's a hell of a turnaround. Regardless, just because you hate the Gators doesn't mean that didn't happen. But I think that we have to talk about. I mean, the Chiefs are a dynasty. I mean, you won two Super Bowls out of 5. Anytime we start talking about a 50% win rate, which is pretty close, I know it's like 43. I mean, in the NFL, where you have franchises that have gone 30, 40, 50 years without winning a Super Bowl, and you win 2 out of 5 with a quarterback that's only been in the league for 5 years. Wow. I mean... 6, sorry. So this is 2 out of 6.
If we're going to talk about the amount of years that he's been in the league, he sat the first year behind Alex Smith.
Correct. So let's just say that from the time that he started. So the time he started, 5 years is what he's been actively playing. He has been in the league 6 years. Since he took over the ball, let's just say that. Since he became the starter, 5 years, 5 straight AFC championships, 2 Super Bowls. You got Travis Kelce that's running side by side now with Gronk, looking like he could potentially actually, come close to Gronk. I don't know. I mean, the 6 Super Bowls, I mean, obviously are just going to be... It's going to be tough to get, but I mean, I'm just really, really surprised that the way that the Chiefs have built around Patrick Mahomes, paying him $50 million a year, which does affect a franchise is able to surround with weapons, getting rid of Tyreek Hill, and they didn't miss a beat. But they lose 3 games this year. It's just, I mean, I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see where guys like Pacheco goes in drafts next year. With that team, or with a guy like Kadarius Toney. I think the Juju Smith-Schuster stuff. He's talking a lot of trash to a lot of dudes who are some dudes, and I would just
who, Juju?
Watch your back this offseason, Juju. That's all I'm gonna say. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is not one of the guys that I would ever chirp in my life. I don't care that guy. I'm good. But anyway, congratulations to Juju Smith-Schuster. Whatever. We'll see what happens going forward. Be interesting to see what these teams do. Obviously, Eric Bieniemy had an interview with the Washington football team, Washington Commanders, to be their offensive coordinator and to take over play calling duties. So that'll be very interesting. I look forward to seeing if he gets that job and gets into that role and has an opportunity to do that. Obviously, the Eagles lose both their coordinators, offensive and defense. Will be a real test to Sirianni to see what kind of a coach he's going to be able to bring in. And
they have like 16 free agents.
To continue the same culture that they've tried to build upon already this year. Be very interesting to see. Speaking of coordinators as well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to move on. Do you have any other thoughts about the coordinators or anything like that?
Well, I think I just want to talk a little bit about the Eagles and where do they go from here? Because like you said, it seemed to me like it was an all-in type season this year. Okay, so you got Jalen Hurts coming on the last year of his contract. Is he going to play under that contract? Is he going to get a new contract? Basically everybody's saying that he's now a $50 million quarterback. That's going to be tough when you have as many free agents as they have. And to your point, you lost your offensive coordinator, you lost your defensive coordinator. Now, there should always be succession planning in mind, especially any good leader, they develop, they get the people underneath them, and they have somebody ready to take their spot. Whether or not that happens in the NFL, I don't know, because it feels to me like one of those things, well, if I train you and I teach you everything I know, you're going to take my spot kind of things. But on the same token, if you don't teach them, they're just going to go somewhere else. So, I mean, the Eagles to me went from one of the most dominant teams, the most sacks throughout the entire season to no sacks in the Super Bowl. And this is where I was trying to call about the coaching staff. And I think Andy Reid and the defensive coordinator just out-schemed them, especially in the goal line. They didn't have any pressure on Mahomes whatsoever, even when, the ankle injury kind of reflared itself. I think that you got to think that your future's bright a little bit as you're an Eagle fan, but on the same token, you got to be wondering, I mean, I could see this potentially going severely sideways next year and this team not even competing.
Well, listen, I don't think Jalen is going to demand a contract this offseason. I haven't heard anything or seen anything from who he has as a human being to suggest that that's the route that he wants to take, right? Philly's set up. They have draft picks early this year. They're going to be able to kind of maneuver their way in the draft and build their team that way. The free agents who were one and dones, they're going to move on or they'll come back at a cheap discount. I'm not really worried about that. I just want to see if they can bring in the guys offensive, defensive coordinator wise to keep on building that culture and building that system. I think their roster is going to be a top 5 roster in the NFL going forward for probably the next 3 years, depending on what Jalen Hurts has to do.
They do have a lot of picks. And to your point about Jalen Hurts, when, and I think Mahomes actually won the Super Bowl though, but he was on the last year of his rookie contract when he got the big one. And I think what you're seeing with Lamar Jackson, playing it out on his, okay, and then not getting it, I think that just goes more to the point that you need to have that before you move on. Because, again, the same thing as a mobile quarterback who got hurt again last year, these guys that run around like this are going to get hurt. So if I go into the next season on the last year of my rookie contract and get hurt again, I have nothing guaranteed. I think you're gonna go right back into that same program.
I would like to see the Eagles do at least something of saying, hey, we're going to pick up your 5th-year option at the minimum, and then we'll try to work out a long-term deal for you as well, too, if they want to go that route. If they don't, then that's completely their prerogative. They can do whatever they want to, just like the Ravens are doing right now. Mm-hmm. So,
okay. And I know we talk about the old Buccaneers. I think we're talking about the coordinators.
Hey,
is that right?
They got our guy, baby. Let's go.
That was your guy? That's who you were targeting?
And I didn't know, absolutely not. But I said we got our guy as a Bucks fan. Whatever the guy was, that was our guy. That's who we wanted the entire time. All right, that's the story. We're sticking with it.
Let me just put out a disclaimer that Jeffrey speaks for Jeffrey alone, because I've seen numerous Bucks fans that are not happy with this. But please,
Well, then
let it happen.
I don't care if you're not happy with it. Get on board or get off the fucking ship. Okay?
Woo!
I'm so sick of this shit where we're not going to support the people that we have on our team and part of our organization. All right, all we want to do is rip people down over and over and over again. I'm absolutely done with it, and I'm done with all you fair weather fans.
Such a toxic fan base, man. Such a toxic
Crazy to
fan
me,
base.
bro. Let's just be happy for 1 second, okay? They sat there, they interviewed the guy. He's been under systems, under Bevel's system, under Reed's system. He's been under a McVay disciple as well, too, under guys who are his system. He's got history. He's got cred. He's had one of the best passing attacks in the NFL in 2020 and in 2021, okay? And we're going to sit here and say, oh, this isn't the guy. Look what he did to Geno Smith last year. Look what he did to Geno Smith last year.
Comeback player of the year.
That's not the guy? Come on, man. You guys pissed me off, bro.
I think it's one of those things where,
And
like,
listen,
everybody
I'm
wants a
gonna just-
shiny Cadillac in their garage, right?
Of course, but what is Todd Bowles going to do? You think Todd Bowles wants to go with Monken or something like that? Who is Todd Bowles is in win now mode. He is fighting for his job and for his life. Okay, let him go with the guy that he wants. Let us play out this year. I love the hire. I have no problem with it whatsoever. Positive vibes only. Guy's going to be great in Tampa, and I can't wait for it.
Let me ask you questions. As you referenced before about Todd Bowles, fighting for his life, do you really think that this was the Todd Bowles' first choice? Because I think this is going to go back to the fact of what we were talking about, I think, on the last one, where people were not willing to come into this situation knowing that Todd Bowles is fighting for his life, because if he goes, more than likely the new offensive coordinator is going to go as well.
So there's two caveats to that, right? You could say that, but you could also say if I'm the offensive coordinator and I walk into this situation where I have a fantastic offensive line, a great running game, some of the best wide receiver room in the entire NFL, right? And
I don't know
Todd
about the
Bowles-
great running game, though.
Well, we just didn't run block this year, but you don't think Fournette and Rashad White are good running backs?
They're talking about Fournette. Oh, hold on. Let me. I'm just repeating what you said. I mean, I do believe the Bucks were the last in the NFL last year in rushing, but
We
no,
absolutely were.
I believe.
But
I
also
thought
think
it had
that
to
went
do more
play
with.
calling and situations.
Well, that's what I was getting. I think that
don't
has
think
more
it's
to
a
the
lack of talent.
schemes. Yeah, no,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
I don't think that's a lack of talent at all whatsoever. So I think that the talent is still there on the entire roster, top to bottom, when you look at it. And the caveat to that is saying, okay, well, if I'm going to come in and be the offensive coordinator, and if Todd Bowles goes, well, then do I go? Well, what if your offense performs? And what if your offense is the only good thing that's about that football team? Well, guess what? You just stepped into a head coaching position as well, too.
Could be.
So
Could be.
you can argue the one way, or you can argue the other way. It's all about how you want to look at the glass. You want to look at it half full or half empty. How confident are you in your abilities?
Well, God damn it, I'm going to quit saying that at some point. As someone that's been.
Interesting.
As someone that's been battling the Buccaneers fan base about supporting their own players, it's just
I don't know.
you don't know what to expect, and that's the biggest thing.
No, but
He's
but
signed. Let's get around it, like you said. Let's
Yes,
figure it out.
rally.
So now
Support.
the question is he bringing Geno?
I doubt it.
That's the chatter. Geno is an unrestricted free agent, I believe. Correct.
It's gonna be depend on what kind of money Geno wants. Personally, what I think is you roll with Trask, you maybe bring in a veteran, and then depending on if he falls, I think Anthony Richardson is a special talent.
No,
in
my
this league.
God, here we go.
And I think people are sleeping on him right now in terms of he can make every throw. He's a big-bodied, able quarterback who can get outside the pocket and make plays as well too. I think that it was maybe not the best environment for him there in Gainesville, with everything that was going on. And I listen. I think AR-15 right there in that range. If the Panthers pass on him, with the 9th pick. I think he'd be a very interesting developmental quarterback to come in behind Trask. Trask can teach him how to be a pro. He's been in the Bucs system for the past few years. The Bucs have a lot of confidence in Kyle Trask, studying behind Tom Brady and Blaine Gabbert to go along with Ryan Griffin as well, who's been in this league for a long time. I just think it'd be a very interesting move to look at a guy like Anthony Richardson right there with that pick. Hello?
What What pick do the
Tyson-
Bucks have in the first round?
I think they have 19 or something like that.
No shot. No shot.
What do you mean?
Bucks have
that
no
he falls?
shot. No. No
I
shot.
don't think so.
No, I don't. And, you know, as somebody that literally watched every single throwing play from Anthony Richardson over his entire career, first of all, I don't think you want to put two Gators in the Buccaneers because I think the fan base will literally implode.
I will say this: if we don't get Anthony Richardson, I love the offensive lineman you guys have out of Florida. Something I forget his name, but anyway, he looks phenomenal on tape.
He does. You know, you're absolutely right. Anthony Richardson is a great talent.
Yeah, incredible.
But it's just, you know, it's just, oh God, dude, I can't believe you did this. You know, if I say one more time, that's how flustered you have me right now. I think I've said 5 times in a row. There's no shot one that the Bucks are going to go down, is going to go down there. Now, if the Bucks trade up, maybe, I don't know. You know, who really knows? The only thing that you can do is just continue to, read these fake articles that are put out by everybody saying that they're going to sign Baker Mayfield, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, they're going to do this. I still don't know. Like you said before, I don't know if Kyle Trask is the answer. I mean, from everything that I've done, it's just he's a super slow read of the offense. And let me tell you that Anthony Richardson is worse. When he first came on and there was talking about he was so inept as far as being able to run the offense or do anything like that. That's why we've seen the brilliances of Anthony Richardson. I mean, we've all seen it. We saw the Utah game with the opening where it looked like, he was a Heisman winner. And then we've seen him lose to Vanderbilt. The
last game that we saw from him, though, against Florida State, I mean, I thought he was really good.
It's just, it's just the same thing. It's like, which team's going to show up today? Which quarterback's going to show up today? And I don't think that you move up to inside of the top 10 to do it with a guy like that. I think the Panthers are so desperate that they're going to do it anyway.
If he falls, though, I'm saying if he's there at your pick, I don't mind the pick.
I still say no. You're the one telling me that the 2024 quarterback class is even better. I'm still on the train of you ride with Trask. If he is good, great. If not, it's going to be on the lower end of the picks. So you should have one of the higher picks for one of these quarterbacks. You eat all of your dead cap this year. You get it out. And you start 2024 fresh, whether that's with Kyle Trask, whether that's a veteran backup, or you go to the draft. I think that that's the route that the Bucks still need to take. I don't know if they'll listen to me. A lot of people don't listen to me, and that's why their franchises are poverty, a.k.a. the Chicago Bears. They don't listen to me either, but yet they continue to sell out tickets, so they don't really care, apparently. I don't know. It's just I don't know. As you said before, I don't think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should ever draft a quarterback from Florida State in the history of the football program. If you thought Bucs fans were fired up about Kyle Trask potentially getting first-team reps, my God, help them if they trade up and get Anthony Richardson. Oh, my God. The ship might literally sink in Raymond James Stadium. They might burn it down.
I was just thinking about this. Imagine if they ever drafted a quarterback from Miami, though. Then you have the entire fan base who doesn't like them,
It could get really toxic. It's just... Speaking of quarterbacks, there's been a lot of rumors around the Chicago Bears with the first pick and Justin Fields. And
yeah.
I think we've all say that we've seen the tweets from multiple GMs saying that they believe that Justin Fields will be traded. And... to me, it's very, very interesting. Talking with a few of my fellow Chicago Bears fans, who I like to call family, even though sometimes it's questionable with some of their decisions. I was surprised to see a few actually okay with this, that are not completely sold on Justin Fields' throwing capabilities, his accuracy. Obviously, as a runner, we all saw what he could do. But as far as his passing accuracy and playmaking abilities, if you're going to get a haul, to trade for him and start all over again. To me, the Bears have been such a poverty franchise in the quarterback position since its existence. Jay Cutler is probably the best Chicago Bears quarterback of all time at this point. Yes, you could say Jim McMahon. But, I mean, we look at the stats, and over the length of the time, Jay Cutler was the better quarterback. We did take sexy Rexy Grossman to the Super Bowl, which I watched those highlights the other day. My goodness, what if we had a quarterback with that team?
You think Rex Grossman is the best Gator pro quarterback ever?
I'd have to go back. I don't know.
Spurrier, maybe.
I don't know.
Did Spurrier
I'd have
ever
to.
go to-
I'd have to dig deep. I'd have to dig
trying to
deep.
think.
I think Timmy Tebow could have been great, but I don't think anybody really wanted to work with him, and I don't think anybody really wanted to deal with him, to be honest with you.
Where would you want to trade Justin Fields? So if we're gonna break this down and we're gonna say, okay, you're gonna. Also, what would you be okay with getting back for Justin Fields?
Well, first of all, I don't think you can trade him, but I also see the point of is we're in a complete rebuild. He's going to be at the end of his rookie contract, so he's going to get paid at some point in the next couple of years. Now, obviously, with the number 1 pick, we can also trade back, which I do believe the Bears were going to do. I hope that they trade back multiple times. I hope they trade back with Indy, and I hope they trade somebody back with somebody else to be able to still get Carter out of Georgia. They got to stay up there, but I really hope that they trade back. But if you're going to get 3 first-rounders for Justin Fields, I mean, that's a haul.
Is that the going rate right now?
I have no idea. I just was thinking about Aaron Rodgers.
So I could see 2 first-rounders. Maybe you trade back with Indy. Indy has what pick?
4.
4. We can give Justin Fields for their 4th and next year's whatever.
Nah, I think they're going to trade back for that just for the number 1 pick. The number 1 pick will be dealt, in my opinion, regardless if Justin Fields gets traded or not. I think.
Why would you not like? Okay, so I don't know. I mean, to me, why would you? You just don't want to have a quarterback at all. You just want to run no quarterback and wait till next year.
That's my mentality. I don't know what the scouting office sees. I don't know. To me personally, don't.
Your fan base. It's like we want to build a stadium. We want to do all these things, but also we're gonna have the number 1 pick. We're gonna get rid of it this year to tank again to hopefully get a quarterback next year when we already have a quarterback who showed up and we've decided to, be behind and even bench in games just to make sure that he's healthy and ready to go and not ruffling feathers. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes out and says he doesn't want to play in the outdoors. He'd rather play in a dome. And now you guys are ready to trade him.
First of all, it's not you guys. Second of all, I mean, we saw. No, I think you give him another year. I think
you didn't like his comments.
Oh, well, I'm not getting into the dome comment yet. I'm talking about just the straight up fact of whether or not you keep him or not. I don't know how you could get rid of him at this point. He's shown you flashes. He showed he showed you great improvement over the last year to this year. I think you got to give him at least another year. As far as the number 1 pick goes, I definitely think you trade back for that. As far as the dome, to me, I guess I'm in the minuscule over here that I think domes are garbage. I hate domes. I think that when you say football, you think of elements. You think of things that normally don't apply because you play through all of them. During a downpour in a baseball game, you don't play through it. You don't play through a snowstorm in a baseball game. But a football game, you play through it. It's one of the things that made football unique. And the more and more domes that are coming around, the less and less anything of weather. Just like when I went to Chicago, I could have went to numerous games. I chose the December game because I wanted to be in the elements with the boys, having a good time, outside of my comfort zone. I've been into numerous domes, baseball domes, football domes. It feels like a game's being played inside of a garage. It has no feel whatsoever. I understand that, as far as players, it's, it'd be nice to walk in and, it's 72 degrees in here. The field's perfect. Everything's perfect. There's no wind. There's no conditions. Kickers, I'm sure, love it. But, I mean, at that point, it's just a Madden simulation to me. I don't know. I don't know. To me, there's just something special about playing outside. I've been in Lambeau in December. That was brutal. But the fans are coming. And to completely build a dome because you want outside activities or you want a Super Bowl. First of all, Chicago, that's probably the only way we're going to see a Super Bowl is if you build something to host a Super Bowl at the rate that this ownership is going. So if you want that, go for it. My thing would be put in a retractable dome. Leave it open during the football games. If you want the Super Bowl, it's closed. If you want concerts, if you want events, if you want things, it's closed. But for a football game, I don't know. But I guess I'm just in the minority. I'm just thinking about Chicago. Okay, let's say it's a blizzard, let's say it's 20 degrees, let's say it's 10 degrees, right? If you're going to be out there tailgating, because these psychos still tailgate during those weathers, and even when you're walking in, you're going to be walking in bundled up, right? Because even if you have to walk from the car, you're not going to walk through in a t-shirt. So now you're going to get into the stadium. You're going to peel off all your clothes. You're going to get beer on your jackets. There's going to be shit on the floor. And I don't know. It's just a completely. I'm ready. I'm ready to chalk it all. I'm ready just to become a Tampa fan. We'll see what happens. What they do with Kyle Trask.
Is that going to be the deciding factor for you, whether you stick with the Bucs or not? Is what happens with Kyle Trask?
100%.
Good to know.
Well, I mean, him and Brady are the reason I became a Bucs fan. I have no other loyalty outside of that. You know what? And Chicago has done shit for me. You won the Super Bowl when I was like 7. That's the last time that we've been relevant. Well, it's that little blip with Sexy Rexy. Yes, I'm
How
old.
old are you?
I'm old enough.
Jesus Christ.
But, just wrapping up on this NFL season, I think that we saw a lot of great talent emerge this year. I think we saw some quarterbacks that maybe got a little bit exposed. Your boy Josh Allen, as I know that you have a nice little repertoire with. But, it just goes to show about, especially with the Chiefs and still making it there those 5 years in a row through the AFC division, which we both kind of agreed that that's where the quarterback talent is, to be able to go through those guys, the Herberts, the whatever you want to call it, Russell Wilson, whatever he is, the Josh Allens, the Joe Burrows. I mean, I don't know. It was a great season. You said that you thought the NFC was winning. The AFC ended up winning. But what a great game. As far as the NFL season this year, I think that it was a weird season, in my opinion. There was
a great season.
There was a lot of upsets in the middle, in the beginning of the year. A lot of things didn't go, and then all of a sudden things did kind of plan out where the number 1 seeds took it home.
I agree. I thought it was a great year. Just to wrap up, listen, congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not like all in on this makes you a dynasty yet, because you've won 2. It's been a good run right now. We'll see
2
what
out of
happens
5
next year. I feel like dynasties are kind of done in like 6-year windows, right? Like, do you win like 3 out of 6? Do you have a 3-peat in there? What kind of goes on?
Well,
in that,
great point. And I think that's what's on the brink, because when we talked about the Chicago Blackhawks winning 3 Stanley Cups in 6 years, we talked about a dynasty there. And then, of course, it fell apart after that. You could even touch on the Tampa Bay Lightning at this point, as many times as they've been in the Stanley Cup. But I think you're right. I think that we definitely need another year. But just the fact of, again, in between the losses, they were still there. They still went to the AFC Championship every single year. That's just nuts. With the rotating roster.
Props to them. I can't wait for next year. Already looking at fantasy football, thinking about where guys are going to be slotted next year. We talked about a couple different things. I think next year we'll probably try to do some kind of a contest between the two of us, something that might be embarrassing for whoever has the worst record next year. Because there was too much packed in. We just started the show not too long ago, and so just through the playoffs was just a little bit too much to get into this year. But next year coming forward and going down the road, it will be very interesting to see that as well.
That sounds like a 6 and 7 playoff comment right there.
I got nothing to say.
But we do have the XFL coming live to a city near you.
Are we watching the XFL? We do have a local team here in Orlando that we have as well. That should be interesting. I'm not sure if I'm going to watch XFL football or not. It depends on how much of a junkie and a degenerate I really feel like I am, on how addicted to football that I really need to be.
I watched a little bit last year. I'm not gonna. I mean, it wasn't a bad product. I think I texted you there and I said it just amazed me, like, there's nobody in the stands whatsoever. Like, there's in the South, it's college football is usually over NFL anyway than an NFL. But on the same token, like, I've seen more people at high school stadiums. And now, granted, of course, parents are going to watch their kids. But on the same token, it's just like, I saw good football play last year watching the XFL, and I think I'm going to give it a shot. It'll be on one of the TVs on the side, but I think they're on Saturdays, Saturday's obviously a busy day for families, so who knows? We'll see what happens.
Really try to get in and commit, and also with this new job and role that I'm starting as well too. Like, I've always had Saturdays and Sundays off for a long time in my life, and that will not be the case going forward. So I just got to kind of grin and bear it and kind of, try to watch where I can and be involved where I can. But it's going to be nose to the grindstone. A lot of stuff going on in my personal life going forward as well too. Speaking of personal life, which we always want to make sure that we're trying to play more golf. That's one of the main things that we need to make sure that we're doing in our lives, especially living here in Florida and being so blessed with weather and getting into golf. Obviously, the Netflix show just started, and I didn't realize that you hadn't heard about it. It's called Full Swing. Same producers that we have on the F1. And it's basically the first year that they did this was last year when they were transitioning and Live Golf was just coming out. So I just watched the first episode last night. It was fantastic. It's basically about Rory, not Rory, I'm sorry, Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, and kind of about how, Jordan has had so much success going forward in his career already. Justin Thomas going into that PGA championship that he won a few years back out there in Tulsa. And just kind of the journey that they've taken through the two of them. It's very interesting. It's a little bit different. I feel like it's a lot more spread out because there's so many golfers that you have to be able to choose from and stories to be able to tell. When it comes to the F1, there's only 20 drivers, and you're only really going to select like 5 or 10 of those guys who you're going to hit on and kind of go through. So I only watched the first episode. It'll be very interesting to see what happens going forward and how the 8 episodes progress. They're about an hour each. So definitely a good watch. Definitely get into it. It's one of the #1 trending things on Netflix right now as well, too.
I will definitely get into that. And in the big golf world, finally, we had the triumphant return of the GOAT of the golf course, Tiger back in the Genesis.
Baby.
And I did watch a little bit of his golf yesterday. I think he ended with 3 straight birdies.
3 birdies in a row to finish.
Man, he looks rough, though. Whew. He looks rough.
Yeah.
He looks rode hard and put away wet. I don't know.
And listen, nobody's happier to have Tiger back than we are. Humongous Tiger Woods fans. Listen, knowing the way that he finished that round yesterday and finishing at 2 under and just kind of looking at where things are. I know people were super excited and super stoked going to today, and watching that guy walk 18 holes and having him have to turn around and go out there. I'm not sure if you guys understand where they're playing at, but in the mornings there, it's literally 40, 50 degrees, and then it warms up to the mid-70s during the day.
And I think he had first off or something on maybe it was Thursday.
I think he teed off at like 7:30 their time this morning. So he's already on the course right now going through it. I'm not sure where he's at or what's going on. But I just worried so much because I'm like, I just walked 18 and he's got to come back out. It's going to be cold. I don't know why he picked this tee time for himself, where he could have gone a morning and afternoon where he had a big break in between to be able to get his body ready. So I'm not sure what he's doing. Maybe we can find an update here or something like that. But the big controversy, right? Now, Tiger Woods is a guy who used to hit the ball longer than anybody else in golf. And obviously that's not the case now. He's very much an older gentleman. And one of his really good friends is a guy named Justin Thomas, who if you do watch that Full Swing, you will see on the very first episode. But they are really, really good friends. They both live in Jupiter, both have homes there, both play golf all the time. They go out, one of the holes that they were on, and basically it's Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, and Tiger Woods playing together.
What a pairing, by the way.
I mean, I know it's Tiger's thing, but good for him for making that pairing. They go out. Tiger rips the ball. Rory rips the ball. Justin Thomas hits the ball. A little duck hook. A hook is basically a ball that goes left. For those of you that don't know, duck hooks the ball into the rough. As they walk off the tee box, Tiger Woods decides to hand Justin Thomas a tampon. Now, this has not gone over well whatsoever. On social media and on Twitter.
Let me preface that with the people that you would expect it not to go over well with.
Right. A lot of people, I'm sorry, a certain group of people are very, very upset about this happening, and they feel like it's derogatory toward women because Tiger is trying to basically say that, women can't hit the ball as far as men.
Which they can't.
And that Justin Thomas is somehow not masculine or whatever narrative you want to push based off.
Because he didn't hit the ball far as Tiger, which we all know that. Tiger, we just got in from the producer. Tiger's +1 through 5 today so far.
+1 through 5. Okay, listen, That's a good start, honestly. I thought it would be closer to +2 or 3 to start. So, listen, he's gonna go in. He's gonna get a little warmed up, get those bones moving, get those glutes activated. Really start getting through the ball out there, and let's see if he can put up a number on the back nine and see what happens.
Well, I'm just gonna say, give me a fucking break, man. This country and this whole shit to me, it's about up to my fucking eyeballs with this crap. Like, first of all, the golf course is a sanctuary. Whether you're men, women, I don't know. I don't really care. I don't really care what women talk about. But there's nothing like going around with a foursome of your boys playing 18 holes and doing some debauchery. That's what we do, okay? This is a tampon for you to be like, oh my God, what did he do that? I'm sure, there was probably just a cheeky camera angle that slipped it in there, but I'm sure this wasn't something that he wanted to post on the TV. This is two men having fun with each other. This is two men joking with each other. This isn't somebody having a tampon on the main screen at the press conference and being like, yeah, this guy's a pussy because he couldn't hit it farther than me, huh? Yeah, women are inferior and they can't. Give me a break. At what point is comedy just completely dead? For all of you that have your panties up in a bunch about it, guess what? There's another one for you. Go fuck yourself. Don't watch. If you have to get that fired up about everything all the time, you are a miserable human. There's nobody out there that's saying that, trying to degrade a woman in this. If you knew half of the shit that men talk about on the golf course, you'd probably be like, men should never be allowed to play golf, which is probably why our wives give us shit every time that we try to go play golf. Because we come home, we have a few drinks, and we're in a great mood when we walk through the door, and it's usually, where have you been? So I don't know. Maybe this is the entire plan for everyone to shut down. I don't know. Give me a fuck. This is comedy, man. This isn't. Listen, give me a break.
I will say, first of all, when I saw the picture, I thought it was a pre-roll because it's in a tube, and I thought it was like a pre-roll tube that Tiger was handing to Justin, saying you might need this since you're letting an old man drive past you.
Hold on, for those of you that are watching live via the stream, I'm gonna put it up here. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I didn't think. Now, when I found out it was a tampon, I was like, "Oh shit!"
Tampax too. Tampax. Look at that. First of all, he slips it to him, right? Like he's slipping him $100 bill to get past that.
But then JC drops it.
Yeah, but then the next picture, they are dying laughing, right? And then they're in there on the tee box, and you got Rory up there. They're all dying laughing. Now, at what point do you think that this is directed to anybody than these three gentlemen right here, having a good time between three guys?
My only question would be, why does Tiger have a tampon on him? Okay. What's going on with that?
Maybe he can menstruate. I mean, apparently that's a thing these days, right?
And I will say this, too, is that Tiger does not have a great track record when it comes to...
Careful!
If we're going to be honest, you know what I mean? Like, you guys can be upset that, like, he gave him a tampon, but like I'd probably be outraged that he like knocked down 15 of you while he was married. Like, I don't know, like seems like there's other things we could focus on besides this.
It's just, I feel like people just need something to bitch about. You know what I mean? Like it's just something, right? It's just.
The fact of the matter is that like he knocked down 15 of you and like 14 of you all knew about each other. So I don't want to hear it, dude. Let's give the man a break. Anyway, watch Full Swing on Netflix. Coming out.
Yeah, watch Full Swing. Brought to you by Tampax. This episode brought to you by Tampax, where we have a pad for everyone. But my biggest thing that I was watching on this, outside of the whole tampon situation, is can we please get patrons away from athletes? He's walking off the green. You got grown-ass men with their hands sticking out there trying to smack him. Whether they're trying to smack his junk, give him a little tap in the butt, high five just to say, ooh, my skin touched Tiger's. First of all, in this day and age, like, no. First of all, it's just, no. The little kids, man, that's different because you can't control little kids. They're really excited. That's their hero. You're a grown-ass man, okay? That's another grown-ass man. You both have hearts. You both have organs. You don't need to be putting your hand out there like a wet noodle trying to get a dip into the pot, okay? So can we please move the ropes back? Same thing with basketball, football, anywhere where a fan can get that close to a player. Can we please push it back? Give me a break, dude. And then you got him. Okay, so I've seen numerous ones. Well, like soccer, I think Ronaldo's is a one as well, where you'll see him walking by and there's a kid or something right there, and they don't acknowledge him, and then now that's a big story because he didn't give the kid the high five or something. You're not entitled to anything. These are just human beings, just another person that just happens to be really good at something because he dedicated his life to it, and you chose not to. You don't go around. You don't go around your office building, right? Going down the aisle with both hands out, getting high fives to everybody because you closed it. You know what I'm saying? No, you don't. No, you don't. I've never understood. I've never understood the fanboy shit.
I don't disagree with you. I feel like we need to do a better job of screening people who are going to be that close to these guys as well too. And I would. Going forward, I think you'll probably see something in litigation for the NBA Players Association and something when they re-up their contract that has to do with that because of the amount of fan interactions and things that have happened. Whether you see, a guy like Shannon Sharp doing it and interacting and literally getting, riling up an entire team. Like, homie, you were there as a fan. You need to sit your ass down, bro. Like, this is unacceptable. So these different examples that we see of people, and it all has to do with entitlement, right? Like, you think that you are entitled to whatever that is in terms of a high five or in terms of you're entitled and you feel so high and mighty that you should be able to yell whatever you want to at a player and they should have thick enough skin to have to deal with it. You know what the players back in the day had to deal with? It's like, shut up, homie. Be a grown, responsible adult. Sit there, watch the game, cheer on your team,
Well,
and shut up. What?
I'm not saying that they don't deserve a little razz every now and then, but some of the stuff that they talk about. I remember I was at the Bulls game.
People's kids and mothers.
No. I'm not talking about that. I mean, there's obviously a line there. But I was in Atlanta watching the Bulls Hawks one game, and this guy behind me, I can't remember the player's name, but it was quiet because they were getting blown out by the Bulls. And this guy yelled at him, "Hey, you, whatever, donate your paycheck because you ain't earning it. You haven't done shit all game." And the guy looked out, and obviously this was two ethnic people, so there was other slurs that were going around, right? And the guy on the bench looked over him and goes, "What are you doing? My blank, 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 blank." And they got into an entire argument, like 3 rows apart, to the point where the guy ended up getting escorted out. But all he said was, he goes, he was having a terrible game, too. I think he turned the ball over like 3 or 4 times. He just missing wide open layups. I mean, at some point, though, I think the fan has, right to say something, right? Like, "Hey, bro, you going to show up today?" Like, or should they just not say anything? Now, granted,
better ways to say things. I try to always say things with humor, you know what I mean, and see if I can get a chuckle or a laugh out of a player.
Give me an example, Jeffrey. Give me an example.
We were at the Orlando City game last year. Everybody's yelling at this kid who actually I had no idea, Taylor or something. I had no idea he's actually a family friend. But he's walking by, and I'm just like, everybody's screaming at him, obscenities, and I just at the top of my lungs say, "You're way too pretty to be a soccer player," or something to that effect, right? Something where he turned and just looked at me and shook his head and started laughing and nodded his head and ran off. There's just other ways, there's other ways to get into people's heads that you don't have to tell them to.
Give up your paycheck?
Yeah, jam your cock into a wall or something.
Whoa!
You know what I mean? You don't have to do these things, this just.
I agree with the obscenities. I don't agree with anything obscenities. I don't agree with what, like you said, some people talk about their families, that's just,
homie, chill.
That's just, the lady.
They're like, "Oh, I knocked out your girlfriend a few weeks ago, bro." I'm like, dog, I had, first of all, I had no idea he was a local kid either. So I was like, "Oh yeah, right, bro." And then it's like, "Oh, well, what if that actually happened? The kid grew up here, 8 miles from here. It's insane."
Oh my god! I bet you're right. I mean, the fans need to be accountable for their actions. Absolutely. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to think back of all the things that I've ever yelled in an earshot.
Let's not do that.
Actually, there's not very many because, as you know, I completely respect athletes. I I respect their privacy. As you know, I agreed with LeBron as far as if I see them out, I don't approach them. If they walk by me, I might say, "Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?" But it's not like I'm going to go all fanboy. But I will tell you, one of the best personalities I've ever hung out with was Charles Barkley, and I hung out with him at the bar. This is when I was with Hooters. I was drunk. He was in this like corner with roped up areas of security guards. I literally just jumped over the rope and sat down right next to him at the booth. And we sat there for hours, dude. Hours. The security comes, like, rush me. He's like, no, let him go. Because obviously I was there with the Hooter girls or whatever. So it was a pretty good time. Hours. Me and Charles Barkley just cut it up in this corner booth for hours. Smoking cigars. Yeah, it was a good time. He's a good dude. So, to wrap up the show, we do have a little transition. Obviously, the NFL is gone. We don't have anything.
What do you think? Real quick, we do have a very big weekend coming up in terms of NBA All-Star Weekend. Are you excited for anything for All-Star Weekend?
No. I don't even watch it.
No,
I don't watch the NBA.
Normally, I watch the dunk contest religiously because back in the day when you had, these guys who were competing in it, whether
they did show the highlights of Zach LaVine in that dunk contest, and that was pretty cool, but that still doesn't, I don't know.
Yeah, Aaron Gordon beat Zach LaVine. Anyway, whatever.
The NBA to me doesn't even, whatever. I mean, there's 10 teams that don't make the playoffs. Check me when the playoffs come, because that's when anybody tries. They don't try before that, so you don't get my attention. I do have the NBA package. I do watch almost a lot of the Bulls games, which to me they're just don't even get. I'd rather talk about baseball. Baseball pitchers and catchers reporting this week. It's the 1 week that we all start getting excited as Chicago Cubs fans because it's starting to come off. Woo! I'm not excited again. I haven't been excited for a long time. I feel like, the Cubs, we got the one World Series. Thank you to Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, Rizzo, Contreras, the boys. Contreras is now playing for the Cardinals, which he's already came out and said that he's going to be a complete pain in the ass for Cubs fans for a long time. That really hurt. But the Atlanta Braves looking good again.
Atlanta Braves are favorites, yeah. Atlanta Braves are favorites, and I'm honestly, listen, I know you're not a Cardinals fan whatsoever.
Actually, hatred.
You hate the Cardinals, but I will say I do have a soft spot for them a little bit because their manager, Oliver Marmol, we're fortunate enough I got to play Little League and AAU ball and travel ball with them growing up as kids, and it's cool to see his progression going through the minor league system and the way that he grinded, and he's done a great job as their manager so far. So looking forward to see what the Cardinals might be able to do this year going forward. My Braves,
we're just gonna ignore that comment.
My Braves, I think it's going to be an interesting year for the Braves. Listen, we're the betting favorites right now to win the World Series. Which is,
are you keeping Acuna or not?
Of course, what do you like? That whole story made no sense to me whatsoever.
I've seen it from multiple outlets that he's requested a trade.
Okay. I disagree.
I just need to know because at ThomasMemorabilia.com I have an Acuna jersey for sale, limited edition. And if he's going to be traded, I need to discount the price and get rid of it. So if anybody wants a Ronald Acuna Jr. limited edition Braves jersey for a discounted price, hit me up. Questions at the Uninformed Fan. We'll work out a deal before he gets traded. Thank you.
I don't know why he would want to go, but I do think that the Braves have set themselves up to where if that is something that does come to fruition, that they have insulated themselves enough where they won't be completely shell-shocked by it if it happens. But I haven't seen it, or besides the things that you send me randomly on Twitter from a guy who's got 1,400 followers and is following 3,400 people. I haven't
come to find out that wasn't a real account, but still,
Yeah, shocker. I scrolled through 6 tweets and sent you something else, and you were like, "Oh, well, yeah, that's not 100% accurate."
I am interested to see. The MLB implemented a lot of pitch clocks, bigger bases. Is that real? Is that real?
Yeah, that's real.
Is that real?
That's real, and you know that they can't shift anymore either.
They can't shift anymore, which I don't think that's going to be a big. I don't think that's going to be a huge deal.
I mean, I think it will be because I think it'll be a big deal in terms of batting average. I think averages have been way down lately the past few years, and I think that has more to do with the shift and people taking away regular hits. I think you'll see a lot more big innings. I don't think you'll see as many, like, you score 2 runs off of a 2-run shot, you score 3 runs off of a 3-run shot, and you win the ball game, 7-5 or whatever it is. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a build up. I think the potential for big innings will happen a little bit more. I think stolen bases could be up a little bit as well.
What are your thoughts on the pitch clock and all that crap?
Pitch clock to me is a weird rule to try to make up time with. I do understand, but I think the best thing about baseball, and the reason that we love baseball is timeless. It is the only sport that you play that you're not on a clock somewhere.
Can't dribble out the ball, can't take a knee.
Yeah, even when you play golf, the professional golfers, they have a clock on them. They have to be at a certain pace to make sure that the tournament goes at the correct time. I think one of the beautiful things that I've always loved about baseball is that the only thing that counted were outs, right? Yep. You had 27 outs, and within that time frame and that construct, it was up to you to score more runs than the other team. It didn't matter how fast you pitched a ball. It didn't matter what stretch you went from or any of that shit that they want to tell you matters. I don't know. The pitch clock to me is a weird thing. I think it's going to affect a lot of guys in a very negative way, but it'll be something they have to adapt to.
I think this is this point. There's two very, very different ways to watch a baseball game. One is in person, and 2 is on TV. On TV is pretty tough to watch, especially if you're going to listen to it. Now, to me though, you're implementing a pitch clock and stuff. You're not going to gain new fans by this. You're not going to get. So the people that are already fans don't give a shit about it. There's nobody out there that says. The only time that we got really, really blessed is we were at the Miami Marlins Cubs games, and we sprung for the seats right behind home plate, right, that include food service and stuff like that, and it ended up going to 15, 16 innings, but we still got served because you're in those seats. Like,
oh, that's dope.
Yeah, I think that that's part of the thing, right? Is like. To be able to okay, there's a mound visit. I'm gonna go grab a beer and a hot dog, right? Like, if you're at the game, you don't really care. You know that you're gonna be there for 3 hours. We get mad because they cut off at the 7th inning. So to implement pitch clocks, I do agree with the mound visits that they put last year because that did get egregious. Now, and I think that they also changed. You can't. A pitcher has to face 2. A pitcher has to face 2 or 3 batters.
Correct. Yes.
And I do like that as well because that also got redundant. Okay, so 1 batter, now I had to wait for the other pitcher to come in and warm up. Blah.
Now, putting a guy on second base in extra innings, absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I don't mind the doubleheaders being 7 innings. I don't really care about that either. I think that's a fine switch as well. I'm going to argue the other way to you. I think that you watching a game at home is so much easier to access nowadays because you have literally an entire thing right here on you that is a TV as well too. There's no picture-in-picture that you need. You're going to do whatever you want. You're going to play your games. You're going to go on Twitter. You're going to go on social media. You're going to do whatever while you're in between innings, while they're making a pitching change. You're going to get up and get a drink, whatever it is. There's something to occupy your time 24/7, 365 in this day and age. And so to me, I think that the construct of the time of the game, there are those things that you can do, but I think the pitch clock is something that is super minimal, and I don't think it's going to be effective whatsoever.
Do you have MLB extra innings?
I usually piggyback off of Ian Zeis's, and I can give you guys
because they stay at the same house. MLB, we completely support everyone having their own logins. One of the best things about the MLB is like the next day, or like even watching the condensed game where they just show outs or runs. It's like the whole game's over in 7 minutes.
That's it.
It's beautiful, especially to watch that.
It's a beautiful thing that they do, and that's what I'm saying. Like this. The people who are going to go watch live are going to watch live anyway. They're not going to care that like a guy.
You're not going to attract new fans by cutting 30 minutes off of a game. You're just not going to.
It's not going to happen. No,
and neither are we.
Take steroids again, then you might get them back.
And we're getting in the ear that our time is up for today. So good show today. We're sad that the NFL is coming up. We do have some good, exciting news for you guys coming up. Is that starting next week, we're going to start bringing in callers. So we're going to start taking questions from the fans. You're going to get our uninformed takes. The best way that we know how to do it is to give you the straight shoot from the hip attitude. So also, if you don't have the time to call in and want to have your questions heard live on the air, email us questions at the Uninformed Fan. You can follow us on the Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, anything. Put your questions, comments down there. We'll get to those as well. We're really looking forward.
Any questions?
Any questions? They don't have to
You
be
want some
sports related.
relationship advice? Let me tell you something. I am a relationship guru over here. I have set up more people and marriages than anybody even knows about.
Well, the fact that Jeff is still married and has kids is just an testament to that. So I will give him that. But yes, anything you guys want to get on with the boys, and we would like to also announce that we did bring on our a producer. We do have our producer, Mr. Jeremy Swenson, who will be screening our calls and helping on the back end of things to make sure that we're on time, covering topics. So, Jeremy, big shout out to you. Thanks for coming on board the team. We do have Ian Zeese that's going to be joining us as well as our NHL commentator and all-time hot takes. Wait till you see this guy. I mean, we had to groom him for about a couple months to ensure that we comply with all regulations as far as what he says, but that will be an interesting opportunity for everyone as well.
So screwed, dude. Oh
yeah,
my
we got some really good stuff coming up, guys. We got F1 coming up as well. That's getting ready to kick in.
Yes.
The draft's coming up. The combine,
it's
now it's
F1 2 weeks.
March 5th, 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah, bro. It's the 17th. We only have
pretty much. Which the race is coming out, or the series is coming out in a couple days as well. So, a lot of good stuff coming, guys. We appreciate you stopping by. We appreciate the comments and concerns. Justice, thanks again for joining in. I'm sorry I didn't get to your Kyle Trask, but yes, I do say right with Kyle Trask as well. Thanks a lot for everyone for joining in. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch, Twitter, whatever your favorite social media is. That's how you're going to keep up with us. And that is all. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you here on Monday. Jeffrey, are we going to make Monday?
We are here Monday, baby. Let's go.
All right. Monday.